Hi everyone. Thank you for watching the Compass Guide. And as we mentioned that please spread the word among your friends and peers. They might get help from what we produce. And please do subscribe to the channel and spread the word. Today, I'm really privileged and honored to have Aditya with us, Aditya Chakravarti. He's a vice president of customer propositions and customer relations from HSBC Bank Canada. Welcome, Aditya.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and it's long due. We have been planning this for some time, and finally we could figure out a time which suits all of us. And the whole idea was that probably the time when we do this, the virus situation would be under control. We all hope that we would all be vaccinated by this time. But unfortunately, both of us are in a part of Canada where we are right now again in a lockdown. So, not a very positive state of mind, I guess. Aditya, what is your feeling about it?
No, absolutely. You know what? It's been over a year that I've been to work. This is the new mode of communication, and thanks to you, we're reaching out to more people through this mode. We all want to get back. The sun is going to rise. It's starting to show the green leaves here. It's springtime. I think it's turning, and we'll be together, sitting face to face with a lot of people very soon.
Yeah, and we all hope so. And as we all know that Canada as a country, and if you're watching, if you're someone who is aspiring to be an immigrant in Canada, or you've already got your PR and you're planning to come in, it's one of the best countries to come in for sure. And our endeavor here is to help and support as many as we can in that journey, to really get yourself a foot in the door and get some help through our network and also through experience sharing. So today, the reason why, there are a few points which I wanted to really discuss with Aditya, and which would definitely be of help to people who are moving into this country. And Aditya, to start with, I wanted to bring in the very first thing which I wanted to talk to you about, and I wanted you to discuss and tell our viewers that you had a journey which included, you started your career, very early stages of your career in India, but then you moved into Middle East. A pretty longer chunk of your career was in Middle East, and then you moved to Canada. And now I think you're already in Canada for quite a few number of years. So I wanted you to share your own journey, and how that journey really folded and unfolded. And that, I'm sure there are so many people who are moving in exactly in that same route, and it will definitely help them. So why don't you give the viewers a bit of your own journey and how it went, and the things that you think worked and didn't work.
Sure, sure. First of all, thank you for the opportunity. I'm a big fan of the work you do, Sandeep, with the community and then new immigrants in particular, and your passion in it is truly something to look up to. So, first of all, thank you for the
No,
opportunity.
thank you for that.
And while talking of my journey, very similar to, I guess, with a lot of people who have landed in this country, as you said, I started my journey in India, back in Calcutta, Kolkata, oh God, not to age myself, but decades back. I did my schooling there, and I did my college there in Calcutta with St. Xavier's, and then I moved out to Delhi. So that was, as I think back on my life and how I grew within, I won't say career at that stage, but just going through life and its stages. Delhi was the first chapter of change. The city was very different to Calcutta. Delhi is where I did my CA from India, with KPMG there in Delhi. But it was the first change that I encountered in my life, where people were different, the language was different, food, culture, and many of us who know India know that every few steps you take a different language, and also eat the good food that comes from every region. So I'm a foodie myself, so Delhi was not that bad, and in fact, it shaped a little bit of my cuisine growing up. So as I did my CA in Delhi, that's just right after my CA, I moved out of Delhi and moved to the Middle East, like you said, to Abu Dhabi, which is in the United Arab Emirates. I joined Ernst& Young there, so still public accounting, which was kind of the line I was going in at that time. And it was shaping my career more towards the accounting field, audit and advisory, those kind of areas. And I spent about 10 years in the Middle East before coming to Canada. So those 10 years primarily in public accounting. But towards the later part of the years, I joined the corporate finance role in a company in the Middle East and did that for about 2 or 3 years, right before moving to Canada. So while there, I was kind of in my career, in my head, moving out of audit and advisory a bit, trying to weave out of that profession, just thinking about where my passion lay and where I wanted to take my career next. But then Canada happened. The Middle East was hot. Canada in February was cold. So that wasn't change enough. But as I landed here in February, and as you said right at the beginning, a great country to be in. Probably in hindsight, not a bad period of the year to be in. From February onwards, really cold, but then it gets into spring and all the nice things happen. As we know, seasons change here, which was a change from the UAE. In the UAE, as you know, has one season. So that itself was the next change in my life. But even though I wanted to move out of audit and advisory, that was the biggest thing in my resume that stood out. And I landed a job in the audit line, and I audited with Scotiabank as I landed here. And I did a little bit of a tenure with them before I moved into financial reporting at CIBC, and then that went on. So both career-wise, and life has taken me through a lot of change. I've been out of India now for more than 25 years, but over that time, I think it's all been great. It's been new learnings every day, new people, new cultures, and I've enjoyed every bit of it.
No, and I'm sure, I bet, because as you mentioned, a lot of people who are from Canada, they do not understand that India is so diverse, right? So 200 miles any direction, everything changes. It's a new country, and that obviously becomes one of our strength areas when we come into this kind of a country and try to work around, where you see so many people from so many parts of the world and competing. So great knowing, Aditya, about your journey, and I'm sure a lot of viewers would resonate with it, right? Because a lot of them are probably sitting in that spot right now where they are planning to move. And that brings into my second question to you, which is, we know that Middle East is more of a transit hub. We know that people go there. It gives a good balance between east and west. You can make tons of money and tax-free money in most of the time. But at the end of it, most of the people decide to shift and settle somewhere else. And that part is not very easy. The reason is that people who move from that part of the world are already settled in their lives in quite a few number of ways. Finance is one of them. Asset under management, their own portfolios, all that is one part. But they have also grown in their career. They have also seen the world in a multicultural, ethnic angle. They have also worked with people from across the world. Now, then when you move into a new country, the challenge is not the same as somebody who would have moved directly from India with 6-7 years of experience, or from any other country for that matter. So my question to you would be, or rather my point to you would be, that if you could give a couple of 3 tips maybe to people specifically who are moving from that part of the world or planning to move, that what should be some top 3 preparation or top 3 things that they should keep in mind when they make the decision, or they have already made the decision and they take it forward? What is the best way?
Sure. No, excellent question. And I get that question quite a bit from a lot of people, like you said, who want to come through that journey, and want to make the next change in their careers. Middle East is, and I'm making a general statement here, but for most part, is a transition of sorts. But it is also a very multicultural experience by itself. So you're right, coming out of India, that was a change, but you got exposed to all those different aspects of culture, way of life, way of living, money, yes, but let's not touch on that. There is indirect ways of spending that money, need not be taxed. You spend on things and goods that you buy. So that apart, I think I've gone through the same thinking coming here myself, and this is I've been here now 15, 16 years. But even as we came in 2005, my wife and I, we went through the same thinking of whether this is the right place, based on where you want to see yourself maybe in 5 to 10 years. There is an influx point, I think, with your career in the Middle East. As you get more and more senior, a lot of other things weigh in on your career aspect, because you've got, when you take change, when you make change, you take a risk, and as you take that risk, now you are deciding whether it's the right one for you, yourself, your family, and everyone else who's dependent on you. So as early as you can make that change is easier in my head. But having said that, when I compare myself to a lot of my friends who kind of had the same journey, I was the last to make that move. And that's why as I said at the beginning, I'd spent 10 years in the Middle East. That was kind of a little bit on the cusp of that period. As you get senior, to restart your life and start at the bottom is difficult, and it's a compromise of sorts in your head. The only advice I'll give people who are thinking about it is, well, three things, like you said. One is believe in yourself. There's a reason you're making that decision. That decision is yours, and you have already proven your capability to yourself with the job you had in the Middle East, where you're doing well. So you're capable. So believe in yourself. That's the first thing. Two is be open to change. There will be change. Weather-wise, like we said, is one, but overall life will change, and the corporate circles here are different in ways of life and ways of working compared to the Middle East. So be aware of that change, but more importantly, be open to it. And you've done it once. You've done it once when you moved from India to the Middle East. So there's no reason to believe you can't do it again. That would be the second thing. And the third thing is believe in your network, because you've obviously not taken this decision just by yourself. There are influences in your life who you look up to, or you look to, and want to follow in their footsteps. Take advantage of that network, build on it, understand their journeys, channels like yours, which you do here, learn from these, and make the most of it in terms of those experiences. It might seem a little bit alien and far-fetched at the time that you're trying to hear it and move at the same time, but it all will make sense once you are settled a little bit in the country. So take advice from any peer group, any network, any friends that you can. um, and while you do that, always remember you will find people who will not motivate you enough to come, because it all depends on someone's journey.
Yep.
Someone who's had an easy journey like myself, it's easy for me to say because I was very lucky and I had multiple jobs when I landed, but they were not without a reason. They were because of my friends who were here. So that's why that network piece, I think, is very important to keep harboring and keep relying on. Believe what they're telling you is real, and weigh it against where you want to take your career, and then decide. But if you believe in that network, you will do well in the end. That's my belief.
No, thank you. And I think it's very so important to for people to realize that it's a long-term thing, right? It's not a short-term thing. And a lot of time I see that people consider it like a job change, which it is not. So it's a far bigger ramification than just a job change. And that's the reason why the relationships and the networks become so important. It cannot be treated just like a job change relationship, but a much longer relationship. And that's why friends come and play much more than just acquaintances. and that's where the relationships comes in. No, that's such an important one, Aditya. And coming from somebody like you who have been through that journey and done it successfully, I think makes a lot of sense, and I'm sure it will make a lot of sense for people who are going to listen to it. The last question that I have for you, which is again, I have come across that question quite a bit. I get that question a lot because I have done it myself. But you have done it in a environment. Both the environments were not your, more your home environment. I would say that is changing career in terms of your job profiles. So in terms of what you do inside the job, you have changed that. I think twice, if I could understand it correctly, because your original career started off in advisory. From there, you went into more reporting, financial reporting, and then you were the CFO at one stage, and then from there you decided to move into business, and 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 all those three changes, both those changes happened in a non-home scenario. So you're not in India or in Pakistan or in Bangladesh, in your home country doing it. Uh, so what would be your suggestion or tips to people who are planning or thinking about it, or are not getting too much courage to do it, right? Or are not finding too many ways in their own place to do, but not considering this because they're not used to thinking about it. So, to open the doors and the windows, right? So, from that perspective, what would be your top three things that you would like to tell people, or top three tips?
Sure, sure. No, you're right. I've done it a couple of times. Like you said, audit and advisory in a way is more connected to financial reporting and the CFO type roles. But the last move I've made is more business oriented. Having said that, I think a few things have stood out for me where, and I take this back to the last point where I said, be open to change. There's a reason to believe in yourself and why you are up for that change throughout your career. And I think most people are, even if some will admit it and some won't, but most people are and want that change in their career. It's necessary to move along so that you don't get static. So the first part would be not to get comfortable in your role. It is easy to get comfortable because you are a subject matter expert in the field, and over time you get better at it. Now people come to you for advice in that specific field. You're doing well, your compensation's good. It is difficult to give that up. But if I was to pinpoint on how you push yourself as step one, it would be to not get comfortable. The stage in your career that you find that you're getting comfortable at what you're doing is probably the one that you should then press for the change and the move next. That would be one. Two would be to take a risk. Every change I've made, and throughout my career, and you know it very well, maybe every 2 or 3 years I've done something different, and that's kept pushing me in terms of one, taking the risk, but also that self-belief is paramount, where you start believing in yourself that you will be able to take the risk. It's not been easy. I've taken many risks in my career, which 6 months in or 3 months in even, and I've thought I made a big mistake and I should not have done it. But that's where the third aspect of this whole advice would come in, which is have good sponsors or have good mentors. I've had many good mentors, stroke sponsors, stroke coaches, whatever you want to name them, throughout my career, who believed in me as much as I believed in myself. So it's very important that the two tie up, because they understand you. And without taking names, there have been times in my career where I've gone back to that sponsor and said, please help me, this was a wrong move, I want to come back to my old one. And the advice at that time would have been easy to say, yes, I'll help you. But the advice I got is, no, stay there and fight it out, and I'm behind you. And that's very important, because you can't do this alone. Remember, in a corporate world, it is difficult to think that you are superhuman and you can do things alone. You don't. You work in a team, and you work in a corporate culture. So you always have to have sponsors, mentors, and good coaches. And if you can find it within your work field, even better, because they will understand what you're going through. doesn't have to be in the same organization, but at least in your field, will pay rich dividends, and will be the third lever that you pull when you want to change.
Yeah, I think that is so powerful, and a lot of time I'm sure that people would feel that they feel lost, right? They feel that, okay, how do I, you take a risk. First of all, you really procrastinate taking a risk, right? Secondly, when you take a risk, the very first few period, like first few days would probably be the honeymoon period, but after that you suddenly start feeling that I was better what I was before, and it's so important at that time you get some hands, some helping hands to look into, and who can kind of push you and say, no, 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 you did the right thing, and just stick on, right? It's so important. No, I think these are great points, Aditya, and I'm sure that our viewers and people who are going to watch it, not only new immigrants who are trying to move, but also people who are trying to look through and trying to figure out their career progression in terms of where they want to go and how they want to do it. Thank you for your time, and a fantastic session. Just went by very quickly, but again, thanks for giving your time, Aditya, and thanks for everybody who's watching it. Please again spread the word. And if you have any questions specifically, Aditya is there on LinkedIn, and Compass Guide is there. I'm there, so you can reach out to any one of us if you have any specific requirement, or if you have any specific piece that you would love to discuss. We'd be more than happy to discuss and guide you. And again, thanks for watching, and thanks for being here, Aditya, today.
No, thank you. Thank you, as I said at the beginning, for the opportunity, your passion in this area. Because one thing I probably should have added to the 3 points is passion. So if you don't have passion in the things you do or the work you want to do, it's often just a job, and that doesn't succeed. So thank you for your passion in this field. To your point, yes, I'm on LinkedIn. Anyone, any advice that I can give, which makes their life better in terms of their career, settling in, or even decision points as they're thinking of the next move, be it outside the country or within, happy to help.
No, thank you. Thank you for that last point. Yes, passion is very important, very critical, and as we say, that we are looking forward to the good times and meeting out and meeting all of you. And till then, take care. Thank you for watching.